everybody?
Nice.
Oh, we're so glad to have you all here. Honeypot Hill Orchard. And we're very excited to have Chelcie Martin, who is managing and owner of Honeypot, as well as president of the Fruit Growers Association.
That's true.
Talk to us a bit about energy on the farm, on the local farm, on the family farm, and what that looks like as we're moving into the 21st century, which is coming on pretty strong. So if you want to speak to that, Chelcie would be really interested and grateful.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Chelcie. I run Honeypot Hill Orchards with my dad, and we've actually been in the solar program for like 15 years. We got in right at the beginning, and it's been a huge benefit for us. We have a large storage where we store about 200 apple bins during the season. So we do full retail here, so everything we grow we sell on the property, so we don't sell to any grocery stores. So we rely heavily on making sure that our apples can be stored at the proper temperature, but that takes a lot of energy. We keep our storage at about 32 degrees because that's how they store best over time. And we sell apples right into January. We actually do a self-serve operation in January, which really people enjoy, but also freaks them out, the level of trust we have with our customers. So this solar has been a huge help to us. I mean, it's saved us roughly 30% on our electric bill over the year, and that's huge. We work with Hudson Light and Power, and I know that a lot of farms have been relying more and more on solar, especially if they have land that's not in use. They'll put in a solar field to help out just with a little bit of extra money. So we're a big proponent of any sort of renewable energy moving forward. We're not a huge energy user compared to some places, just because Massachusetts is on the smaller end regarding farms in the United States, but anything that can help out at the end of the day. Things are obviously getting more and more expensive. We've all felt it, especially since COVID, and I think access to something like renewable energy, solar energy, is really, really important. So yeah, we're a big proponent of it. We think it's been really, really helpful. I especially love that it's on the roof and out of the way. It has been great for us because, you know, that space is a farm. Any of you who run a farm or any of you who've been to a farm, we try to use every available inch. And I know it's 180 acres. We joke that we're running out of space because sometimes it feels like, you know, with all the tractors and everything else, when you get into your season, you don't have a lot of extra room. So having something that can go on a roof, which is not usable space for us, has been an incredible help. And it's just been, and I think it is a really worthwhile venture for farms, and to have become accessible and keep accessible to farmers in Massachusetts, to have that here. So, any questions? Great.
So if you wanted to get more than 30% of energy from solar, how would you kind of approach that decision, given what you just said about distributing on the land itself per growth?
Yeah, I think, so for us, it's more than 30% at the beginning of the year. So, you know, like July, August, we're using very little energy. As we get rolling, once things start to really open up, it's sort of like an average over time. For us, working farm, for us, I think we're actually at the point where we're trying to evaluate what kind of premium we're putting on our space, like what will get us the most advantageous, you know, because we're trying to renew orchard, you know, 5% every year, which doesn't really happen, but are we growing too many apples? Are we growing too much of this variety? Like, would it be more beneficial for us to have that access to energy, or would it be more beneficial for us to be growing Honeycrisp there? Unfortunately, it's usually Honeycrisp, so that's always a tough decision. But I think that a lot of farms, you know, if you have that extra acreage where it's not really plantable, we have a lot of ledge. So, you know, that's something that, depending on your ground, depending on your growing situation, it might be more worth it for you to not put that land into production and to put it into solar. We've also been here for quite a long time, so we've got a pretty good grip, and unfortunately my dad is very stubborn and has managed to plant most available. So as things move forward and we renew land, I think we'll evaluate. We're also a lot of hills, so that's another, topography in New England is very all over the map. That was a terrible answer. I don't know. As things move forward, I think we have to decide if we want to expand our store area. Our business has grown a lot in the last 10 years. So what we decide to do going forward is going to be what best benefits the business. Energy isn't my biggest concern. With the solar, it's helped a lot. I think that's taken the edge off of like what we would consider a problem for pricing moving forward. There's always new varieties, new root stocks, and you don't really know the effect of your choice until 3 to 5 years in, because the variety you're planting might not take off, the rootstock might be terrible. So we just lost like 500 trees to winter damage. So and the growing season is changing. So it's always some fresh new problem. Anyone else? What's up?
Going off of that, what have been some of the main challenges over the past, I guess, several years? We've heard a lot of issues with the changing climate, the freezes and the thaws in the spring. We've heard a lot of some people have issues with labor costs or availability of labor. And what are some of the general issues that you've had?
I do 90% of the paperwork here myself. And I really, really love farming. Like, I love being outside. I love doing what I'm doing. There's a lot of bureaucracy and it keeps getting worse. So I guess besides like the labor cost and the environmental challenges, like we're small business owners, so we can also fix a toilet and fix an ATM and, we do everything. And then we're also farmers. So it's like not just the small business side, which is hard enough on its own, but the farming side, the two together make it very difficult to function. And most people can't afford or have trust issues with hiring somebody to get all of that done for you. So I was just telling Kate that I've been working from like 6 to 10 every night for the last 3 weeks. And like the burnout is very real. And anything that can be streamlined, not so much for like lack of wanting to, but more for just so we can sleep more, is greatly appreciated by us, because we want to do the farming more than we want to do the paperwork, to be honest. What's up, Ken?
Chelcie, I like to wake up at 6 and get done at 10 fully myself, but
10 in the morning. Yeah, I actually just got back from a nap, so.
You also need, farming in New England is a seasonal business.
Yeah.
Cash flow becomes a problem. With Chelcie planting new orchards here at 50,000 acre plus, that's money that's tied up you can't use for other things.
Yeah, it takes 3 years to see a return on investment, which I was talking to someone the other day. They're like, why aren't more farms coming around? And I was like, well, trees are $10, posts are $30, and then you have to plant all of those trees, and the upfront cost is a lot. And I think that's a very difficult barrier for people to get over. We're lucky. I mean, I'm 4th generation. I don't think doing this from the ground would be plausible in this state with the way that land is valued. And yeah, I mean, obviously climate is always an issue. We have a very short season, and within that season, our crop is super perishable. We're always out looking around. Like, we were just watching a meeting together before this started. Like, is this variety dropping? How ripe is, and we're out trying them, looking at them, seeing what the starch to sugar ratio is. And every orchard is different, but you're trying to be very in tune with yours, because that's the only option that you have to know what's really going on out there. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Everyone wave at the hayride.
There's another.
So what about labor in general? How much do you have H2A labor?
We do. We have 12 guys that have been with us for a very long time. We're lucky to have them and want to keep them. They're great. They work really hard. And then we have about 130 seasonal employees, mostly teenagers. I actually have the most Stow employees I've ever had this year.
Wow.
Yeah, which is very cute. Yeah, they walk to work. Love them. Yeah, it's really nice.
So
And
you had the most employees from Stow.
yeah,
So
that-
it's interesting because one of the farms, Langwater in Easton, is the largest employer in the town.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that you fall into that. Are you the largest employer? In
I
town?
don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. But we are a lot of people's first jobs.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of high school kids that we're teaching how to sweep and mop.
Love that.
Yep. Very crucial life skills. And they're doing great. It honestly hasn't been too bad of a year. We're very intense for a very short period of time. So we're trying to have enough people to, like last year, we had work for 2 days because it rained every single weekend. And people were like, do you employ us? It's like, I don't know, I'm sorry. And that's the other issue with seasonal business. You never quite know how. I feel bad, but no one comes here when it's raining, which is a shame. If any of you have a hack for that, I'm listening. I personally think we should get the Dallas Cowboys dome because
Shelburne's in the
yeah,
same thing.
this is garbage. Like, we need it way more than they do. I'm willing to share. Me and Shelburne, we'll just go over the town. Yeah.
Looking at us putting together a report about farms and what farms need and what the state might be able to do, where do you see the most important ways that the state can assist the farm, especially the family farm?
I do think the emergency relief fund last year was excellent, and I will commend you and Massachusetts on getting funds out to farmers quickly when they needed it. That was excellent. I think that a lot of people had a really hard year last year. I mean, we had tons of damage ourselves, but we also grow a lot of apples. Having that as a framework for further potential if we have, because just with the weather changing and we're just seeing more and more potential disaster every year, any funding you can give to UMass for research, because we are now Virginia apparently, and we have rot issues, we have warmer seasons than we used to, and we just don't have time to run trials on our farm as well as farm and figure out, like we were talking about, what rootstocks are going to be successful, what varieties are going to be successful, what do we do with this? And like, people want us to not use pesticides, which I totally understand, but we need all of the information we can get to either use the appropriate thing we need to use or use less of it, because we can't just guess. Like, that's not going to work. We're going to end up having a crop failure if we don't have the proper information in place. I would say making sure we have a lot of protection in Massachusetts, and we really appreciate it. Labor is something to keep an eye on. We are super, super seasonal, and having access to the H2A program has made it so that a lot of us can function. I think without it, there would be way fewer farms in Massachusetts. So protections there are important.
Without the H2A program, we wouldn't have all the jobs of the local.
Right, I agree completely.
So at our farm, it's 7 H2A guys supporting over 100 local.
Yeah,
And for smaller farms, you can't afford the H2A program.
yeah, it's expensive.
Transportation, the housing,
It's expensive.
minimum wage, adverse effect, and a number of others. So there's a gap in there.
Our guys make almost $18 an hour and free housing, and free transportation back and forth, free transportation here. It's expensive, but it's worth it. And I think one of my biggest things is that when I work with state departments, I always want to feel like they're working with me. You know, the first time I come in contact with someone like DEP, I want to feel like it's them wanting to help or wanting to work with me. And I've worked with a number of agencies that make me feel like they're for sure out to get me, and I understand where they're coming from, but like, they should be a resource, and I'm happy to learn and work with someone and do what I need to do. So that is just it's a tough start, tough to move on from there when you feel like people are, I know there's cruddy people out there, but I think it's really important, especially for our local farms where we're wearing a lot of hats and we don't necessarily know what we don't know, to have people to educate us and work with us and make sure that like we're going the right direction.
Thank you
Farms.
for having us, Chelcie Martin,
No problem.
fourth generation.
What's up?
What's it? I know it's like a family business and it's been in your family. This farm's been in your family for a long time. But what's it like being a young female farmer?
A lot of people ask where my husband is.
Where is he?
My husband's not a farmer. He's very cute, not a farmer.
Good answer.
Yeah, he helps out in the fall. He's great. But I actually, I've been here for almost 11 years now, and I would say probably the farming community has been extremely supportive of me. And I was one of 2 to start 10 years ago, and now there's 6 or 7 of us. And it's really growing, and I think female farmers, especially fruit trees, are tough. I mean, we do it's a lot of physical work, which I think is a lot of climbing, and I really, really like it. I like it a lot. Channel 4 came out on Sunday. They're like, "What does honey pot mean to you?" And I was like, "Oh man, everything, everything." Because you can't do this if you don't, because it's all encompassing. But every time I'm like, man, I'm out, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. Someone comes in with their grandkid and they're like, "I knew your grandfather, he was great. This is my granddaughter. Here's a picture of her with a pumpkin." And I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll just die here. It's fine." You've convinced me. You've shown me the way. I haven't really felt like I needed to prove myself because I've had so much support from the other farmers in Massachusetts. It's like having 15 dads. But
And one grandfather.
it's a very supportive community, and Kate's been incredible. We have so much more support than we did even 15, 20 years ago, but it's a good life if you hate free time. Anyone else? All right.
Favorite apple?
I know it's always hard.
Red Delicious. I get so much crap from my employees. Have you ever had a Red Delicious off the tree, guys? They're delicious. There's a reason it's in the name. And you know what? I can eat 6 of them. They're low acid. They taste great. I love them. Anyway, I know it's so funny. Everyone's like, "You can't be serious." I am serious. If I'm honest with myself, I want it to be a cooler apple, but it's just not. It's Red Delicious.
No pink lady.
No, it's the sweetest, most hated apple on earth. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Okay, so we're giving Kate the Ron Prokopy Award, which is in honor of Ron Prokopy, who is the entomologist at UMass Amherst 20. Do you have a speech, Ken? I don't know. I don't want to take your thunder here. Come on up.
Come on up, guy. Let's do it fast so we can eat.
We usually honor the recipient by giving them a bunch of fruit in true farm fashion.
Oh, I can't sell those either.
Come on up.
There we go.
Well, come on over.
There he is.
Come on, Liz, right in the middle.
I was trying to be in the subtle spot.
Women in the middle.
Nice.
Hi. I'm holding fruit. Come on over.
All right, dear.
So many pictures.
Is your face right yet?
Yes. An award to thank somebody who has been a friend to agriculture, and Kate has done so much for us. She always shows up and you just listen to us, which I know doesn't sound like much, but come on, that's huge. She listens to us and she actually hears us, and she understands that agriculture is important in Massachusetts, and we're honored to have her.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything for you, my dear.
Yay.
Yay.
All right.
Thank you, Kate. Let's eat.
Let's eat.